Welcome, everyone, to the Hank Haney podcast here on nofilter.net. You can see the Hank Haney podcast on nofilter.net. You can also see it on the Hank Haney podcast YouTube channel. So go there and check it out. And you can hear the Hank Haney podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. The Hank Haney podcast today is brought to you by Bet Online. It is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. From the NFL to college, Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. And think you know your stuff? Get in on our winner take all $300,000 NFL Survivor pool for the upcoming season. And when the game's over, head on over to the online casino, get in a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind on one of the over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and use the promo code BLEAV and get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts, and that's betonline.ag. All right, today I'm fired up. They made the President's Cup picks. Now, that's the big one. That's the one that everybody is just like on the edge of their seats for. I have to admit, I love picking on the President's Cup. It is the absolute biggest joke of an event. So I'm listening to the radio, the Sirius XM PGA Tour radio. Of course, they've got to hype up the President's Cup, because this is a PGA Tour event. They came up with the President's Cup as a way to rip off the players and make some money. Now, they'll say the money goes into the pool and the players end up getting all the money, which maybe they do, maybe they don't. I guess they're getting more of it now. Scotty Scheffler won $25 million at the Tour Championship, so they are getting some of that money back. That's for sure. But the players play for free, and they do this once every 2 years. So once every 2 years, they have the Ryder Cup. Players play for free, and then they have the President's Cup. Players play for free, and they go on. They sell this whole shooting match to the NBC or whoever buys it. I think it's the NBC, and they put it on the TV, and they have the international team against the Americans. Now, this has turned into be like a little practice round for the Ryder Cup. Get some tournament experience for your team competition. This has turned into a place where players can learn to be the captain. You got to know how to be the captain of the Ryder Cup team, so you can get a little captaining experience at the President's Cup. But what this mostly is just a money grab. This is a money grab. They sell this thing to the TV, and they put this deal on. So this year we got the international team and the U.S. team, and they're playing up in Canada. Now, Canada is a great country for golf. I mean, they love their golf in Canada. So they're going to get some good crowds out there. They got some Canadians playing. Mike Weir is the captain, the former Masters champion, Canadian golf hero, and they love golf in Canada. So it'll be well attended. It'll be a good event. Now at TV, going up against the whatever they're going against in the NFL and college football, not so much. Especially given the fact that the U.S. is just trounced. This event's been going on since 1994. The U.S. has never lost. They have tied one time. They had a tie, but they have never, ever lost this event. So I'm listening to the Sirius XM. I hardly ever listen to the Sirius XM, although I do listen to the tournaments. And the guys that do the broadcasting on the tournaments, they're phenomenal. I get worn out a little bit on it'll be interesting to see It's going to be fascinating to see. Can't wait to see. They repeat a lot of the same things. Like, certain guys repeat the same thing over and over again. I'm sure I do the same thing. It's not easy. I've been listening to them for years, but overall, they do a great job on the golf broadcasts. I like that. I listen to it, and a lot of times, they're better than the TV. Honestly, they really are. So I'll turn the TV off. I'll sound, and I'll listen to the guys on Sirius XM. I like their perspective. Okay. But as far as listening to shows on there, man, it's a tough. It is a tough listen. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I used to be on there. I got booted when I picked the Lee #6 to win the Women's U.S. Open. They said that was I got woked and I was gone, and that was it. So it's hard for me to listen, and not because of that. It's just there's not much to listen to. I mean, it's just tough. It's just too much fluff. It's too much. Everybody's great. I listen once in a while to my friend Michael Breed. I like Michael. He's a great teacher. I like to hear what he has to say. He's the mayor of Happy Town, which is great if you're feeling a little down. He'll get you up. You get the nice feeling when you listen to the Michael. He's really good at that. But I got to have a little more like the Gravy and the Sleaze. I'll listen to the Gravy and the Sleaze. The Gravy hates me. Can't stand me. I'm a podcaster, but he hates me. I like the Gravy. I like to listen to the Gravy. That would be the Cold Nose. I like to listen to the Sleaze, Drew Stoltz. He doesn't hate me, which is good. It's never good to be hated. But I do listen to those guys because they will look. They'll give you now. They're on PGA Tour radio. They got to toe the line, but they're stepping out a little bit. So I was listening the other day to the President's Cup. They're talking about the President's Cup, and they let on that the U.S. probably needed to win pretty soon. This event was getting a little stale. They needed to win. The Europeans. I'm sorry. The international team. The international team had to win pretty soon. Okay, U.S. wins all the time. Okay, I'm confusing myself with the Ryder Cup. It's the Ryder Cup that the U.S. needs to win sooner or later. Maybe it'll happen this next time. Anyway, maybe the President's Cup practice rounds will get them ready for the Ryder Cup, and they'll win the Ryder Cup. They'll have all these this great togetherness, and it'll all translate into great play, because that's the whole key of everything. Matter of fact, I was listening to another show on this Sirius XM, and somebody called in and he said, talking about the picks for the President's Cup. Glad they didn't pick Justin Thomas, that he'd had enough picks. He should have never been picked for the Ryder Cup. And this guy got off on this whole tangent. It should have never picked him for the Ryder Cup. And, Tiger and his buddies, and it went off on this whole thing. And the guy on Sirius says, he was going to have none of it. He had none of it. You're sounding like you've been listening to podcasts. I'm not sure if he was referring to my podcast or whose podcast he was referring to. Maybe he was referring to Big Pants Golf podcast, or the Pro Golf Critic. Maybe he was referring to those guys. I don't know. But I wasn't the only one that said, that picking your buddies deal wasn't. But you notice how they've gone off of the picking, Keegan Bradley, he came out of nowhere. To be the Ryder Cup captain, and they went off of the no more of this stuff with the the good old boys club. But this guy on Sirius XM, he was, oh my God, he was just like, he couldn't take it. No, don't be, oh my gosh, do not criticize anything. For the life of you, do not criticize anything about golf. Oh my God. Do not criticize anything about the PGA Tour. You can criticize LIV all you want. Just don't criticize anything about PGA Tour. Do not criticize anything about golf. If you don't do that, then you're good. You're absolutely good. Anyway, I'm listening to this, and they're talking about I'm listening to these couple different shows, and they're talking about the President's Cup picks. This event, who cares? This is the worst event ever. Now, I like to watch match play. You know, I might, I like to watch golf, so I'll probably watch anyways. But when you have such a wipeout like you have in this event, and the international team isn't going to win. I mean, they're going to tell they need to win. Matter of fact, they were even saying they're going to cheer for them to win. Because they want the event to flourish, and they need to win sooner or later. They tied one time. They had one tie. Like all the U.S. wins, they had one tie. It was Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player were the captains, and it was getting dark. I think they were having a playoff, and it was getting dark, and they decided, hey, we'll just call it a tie. And we had a big kumbaya moment. Everybody came together. It was great. And, golf was the winner, and we had a whole, celebration thing. And that was all good. But the chances that the internationals are going to win is, listen, if you're betting and you want to take a long shot, you can take that long shot right there on that team, because that is a long, long, long shot. Even with some guys gone. They got no Captain America. They got no Bryson DeChambeau. They're over at LIV, but they got plenty of guys on that PGA Tour, that are gonna handle the business on the President's Cup. Now it's 18-hole matches. I guess anything could happen, but anything's not likely to happen. But they're talking about this President's Cup. And they're talking about the picks. They had the picks, the big picks. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I gotta be honest with you. I'm a golf fan. I love the game of golf. I love watching golf. I was sitting. I mean, I'm telling you, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. Like I was almost falling off of that seat. I was sitting right there on the edge of my seat, waiting to sell. I could. Oh my God. I had it marked on my calendar. This is when they're going to make the picks. They're going to pick the President's Cup team today. Oh my God. It's like Christmas. Oh my God. I was like, oh my God, it was like Christmas. I had a birthday, a couple weeks ago, but this was like Christmas. Oh, it was so good. Oh my God, I couldn't wait. Oh, geez, come on, seriously. So what did they do? The U.S. team went right down the list. They went right down the list. This is 1 through 12, whatever you are on points. And by the way, that's a good way to do it, because you go right down the list, and you earned your way on there, and you get a little, put the USA on, go red, white, and blue, and you get to represent your country, and that's good. That's the way it should be. Just none of this captain's pick stuff. Right down the list. This is a PGA Tour event. You earned your way. Right down the list. Right down the list. That's what you do. Okay. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Colin Morikawa, Wyndham Clark, Patrick Cantlay, Sahith Theegala. I like watching that guy. I like watching Sahith Theegala. One of my favorite. He might be my favorite player to watch. Well, not counting Bryson DeChambeau, but he's not on the PGA Tour anymore. Sam Burns, Tony Finau, Russell Henley, Keegan Bradley made his way onto this team. He's the Ryder Cup captain, and he's playing at the President's Cup. Pretty good. Brian Harman, Max Homa. Okay, that's your team. Okay. These guys, world ranking, not that means anything, but it doesn't in this comparison I'm going to make, because the world golf ranking we know is all rigged for the PGA Tour, but it's a good comparison you can draw against in this event, U.S. versus international. That team that I just named, their average world ranking, of course, Scotty Scheffler's ranked number 1 in the world, Xander Schauffele's number 2 in the world. And that is now Morikawa is number 4, and I think we'd have I don't know, Bryson or Rahm or something. Rahm number 3. I don't know where they are. It's all none of it's correct, but this is just for comparison's sake. But anyway, you take the average. This is what I always do. You take the average world ranking of the U.S. players and the average ranking, the worst player, 22nd in the world, Max Homa, 21st, Tony Finau. But those guys are the worst. And the average world ranking is 11.75. 11.75. Okay, that's what you got. Now you take the international team. Hideki Matsuyama is the number one player, and he is ranked number 7. Their number 2 player is Adam Scott, ranked number 18. 18. Adam Scott is, he's not in his heyday right now. Okay. And then you drop down and you drop down and you drop down, and they made a captain's pick. Okay, Mike Weir did. He skipped over a Cam Davis, who's 41st in the world. They skipped him over. He was 8th on the points list. Guy got skipped over. I don't know if he cares, but he got skipped over. They skipped him over. Then they skipped over a Canadian, Nick Taylor, which makes no sense at all. He's a Canadian hero, won the Canadian Open. I mean, this was weird. Canadian Mike Weir skips over a Canadian while they're playing in Canada. I mean, what is the logic on that? It's just put every Canadian out there and make it the 12 Canadians. What difference does it make? They're going to lose anyways. Put them all out there. Maybe the 12 Canadians would win. The crowd would go crazy. The more Canadians, the better. I would have gone all Canadians. That's what I would have done. I would have gone all Canadians. Put all Canadians out there. And what's the worst could happen? You could lose. You're going to lose anyways. So they skip over Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin, another Canadian, at 13. So they go out. They go down. They take Mackenzie Hughes. Of course, he's a Canadian, so they put him in there. 65th, and that was one of their picks. And then they picked Siwoo Kim, who's 14th. And 49th in the world. You skip over the 51st ranked player who's a Canadian. You skip over the 41st ranked player, Cam Davis, and you take the 49th and 65th player in the world, whatever. I mean, I'm sure this makes sense to the captain, and they, desperately want to win. And, it's all about how everybody matches up, how you are in team dinners and team room when you're playing the ping pong. How you are when you pair them up. You got to be. You can pair them with anybody. That's something they like to say all the time. You can pair them with anybody. Anyway, so they picked these guys, and their average world ranking, the average world ranking of this international team, is 35. That's the average. 12 players, 35. So the 35th ranked player in the world, essentially, is going against the 11th ranked player in the world, and they're going to do it like 3 days in a row. All these matches. Not everybody plays every day. They cut that down. See, they try to cut it down. They used to play everybody. Everybody played every round. And they cut that down so that they could give the internationals a chance, and it hadn't really materialized. But they only they play 5 foursomes, 5 4-balls, and then they cut it down to 4 foursomes and 4. But still, anyways, 10 players playing, then it's 8 players playing morning and afternoon, and then you got the 12 singles matches, and everybody's getting a lot of action, more than the Ryder Cup. It's a better format than the Ryder Cup, to be honest with you. I like the fact that more players are playing. You can't hide as many players. I like the fact that when they go in to do the pairings, one side picks and the other side picks, and they match them up. Instead of the Ryder Cup, you make out your list, I make out my list, you make out your list, you make out your list, put your list together. Oh, here, look who's playing. What that makes no sense. This is good. I do like this. They pair them up. And you get some really compelling matches. You might get Sam Burns and Russell Henley against Kristen Bezendunhut, and you could get him against him and Minwoo Lee. You could get that match. You could get Brian Harman. And you could get Brian Harman, and you could get Wyndham Clark, and you could get them going against Ben Hun An and maybe they go against him and maybe see who, maybe Taylor Pendrith, maybe you could get, you never know what you could get, but you could get some really incredible matches here. You can get some incredible matches, and what you're going to see if you watch is you're going to see a big disparity in the teams. And if the U.S. loses, it will be the biggest upset ever. And most likely, what you see, the most compelling thing you'll see at the President's Cup is whether you have one night of celebration or two. If the U.S. smokes them the first 2 days, they can get, they play for so many points the first 2 days, they can get enough points to close it out so that the singles matches don't even matter. That almost happened one year. So that's the thing that's never happened. That's never happened. And the international team has never won. Those are the two things that have never happened. So those are the two things you're going to be looking for. And the one that has the better chance of happening is a double closeout. A closeout on Saturday and close them out again on Sunday, and you have a two parties. You get to two parties. You party Saturday night because you won, and you party Sunday night because you won. You have the double party. That will be the that'll be the intrigue. That'll be the intrigue there. The President's Cup. Oh my God, can't wait for it, and don't even know when it is, but can't wait for it to happen. It's going to be a great one. They do have some Canadians playing, and the Canadian fans will be great, and it'll be rah-rah. You don't know who you're cheering for though, because it's like. But everybody likes to cheer against the Americans. There's no two ways about that. So they'll probably do that, and they'll be hyping it up everywhere you can. Of course, they got to talk about something, and they're not going to talk about the LIV and the PGA Tour negotiations, because that seems to be going nowhere. So they're going to talk about the President's Cup, and meanwhile, I'm going to watch and listen to what they're talking about on the President's Cup. And then I'm going to watch some football. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch some football. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Hope everybody enjoyed the podcast. Remember, if you have the aches and pains and the muscle soreness, joint pain, arthritis pain, my Voodoo Pain Relief Cream will absolutely help you tremendously. It's 100% guaranteed, 15 anti-inflammatory ingredients, and it works like a charm. People reorder it over and over and over again. So go to voodoopainrelief.com. If you are interested in golf lessons from me, you go to haneyuniversity.com, and I got a lot of great stuff coming up. I've got a lot of great stuff that's going to be I'm introducing very shortly that I'm working on. So I'll share all that information on another podcast soon. But check in on haneyuniversity.com. All right. Hope everybody has a great day, and we will talk to you soon on the Hank Haney Podcast.